Christmas, 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 I love you. Christmas, Christmas, I love you.
Hello, class and students. Thank you for coming in today. With presents under the tree and winter in the air, there is no better time than to talk about merch. So, I want to go over not just how AEW is screwing the pooch on merch, because boy, are they doing a bad job. But we're also going to talk about how your local indie or your small fed can make real money on merch and become a more profitable business and a more profitable entity. Because wrestling is a business and we're all here to make money. Professor Wrestling's job is to show you how to do it. So without further ado, let's get started.
Christmas, 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 I love you. Christmas.
The biggest challenge to any independent promotion and to AEW selling merch is talent selling their own fucking shit. Let's look at Darby Allin for a great example. And let's actually, you know what? Let's do something better. We're going to compare Darby Allin to John Cena. You're going to think this is totally unfair because John Cena sells way more merch, but this isn't about how much is sold. It's about how it is sold. Darby Allin is an independent contractor who sells his own merch independently on multiple platforms. I can buy Darby Allin merch on Shop AEW or Pro Wrestling Tees or his own website Hoodlum. I think I can get knockoff shirts on other areas, but Darby's out there making money any way he can. This is good for Darby Allin, but it's shit for AEW because every time AEW puts Darby Allin on a match and then someone buys a jacket from Hoodlum, that's money that they're not making off of the back of promoting him and giving him an arena and an opponent to work in and with. If they're putting Darby over as a face and faces sell merch and they're not getting a cut of that, they're actively eating a loss. Darby Allin selling his own merch is bad for business. John Cena, you thought I forgot about him. John Cena does not have the rights to his own face. The WWE owns John Cena's likeness. So if John Cena, the man, the physical embodiment of that person, does a thing and gets paid because he's John Cena, then John Cena, the man, has to cut a check to the World Wrestling Entertainment Company because they own John Cena, the concept, which is weird legal nonsense. And you might go, there's no fucking way. There's no way John Cena doesn't own his own face. Here's John Cena talking about him not owning his own face. I'm not saying it's bad business. I'm not saying it's ethical business. What I am saying is that nobody can sell John Cena merch but the WWE. They are lock, stock, and barrel in charge. This means that if they notice that John is selling a lot of merch, they will push him and feature him more in stories, give him opportunities, sell him to their audience, who will then reciprocate by buying more t-shirts, and this is the cycle of positive profitability. If you're a smaller local fed, you're dealing with a lot of Darby Allins, right? You can't buy the IP of everyone on your roster. It's not even possible. We talked about pay and contracts, and one of the ways you can overcome this challenge is by granting a non-exclusive license. You want the IP license of this person and this character for you to promote non-exclusively. As a small guy, this will give you ways to sell your own graphic tees, promote them in other merchandise, and we're going to talk about that in a bit, and just generally use them even though they're not exclusive to you while they do their own thing. If you're a big company like AEW, Darby Allin selling his own merch is inexcusable. Not because it makes him look low rent, but because it gives you an imperfect picture of merchandise. If Darby is selling 60% of his merch in Hoodlum or on PWT and Tony doesn't see it at Shop AEW, he's not going to know that Darby's that popular because he won't go, oh, Darby sells a lot of merch. He's going to go, Darby doesn't move a lot of t-shirts. Let's leave him in the mid card. We'll find somebody who does sell t-shirts because he's not asking, does Darby Allin sell merch? They're asking, does Darby Allin sell merch here? Those are different questions. And that creates a problem in how you can market your stars. If you're a small indie, you might know the locker room pretty intimately, so they're probably going to be more freeform with this. But if you have 200 people and a traveling show and a giant roster and 2 companies, you need data. There's too much going on for you to know it all off the top of your head. You need data. And if you don't have good data and the data you get is bad, it's going to fuck your company and you're not going to make any, money.
Christmas, 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 I love you. Christmas.
Pro wrestling merch buyers fall broadly into 2 categories: fans and collectors. And these people could not be more further apart. Fans are typically low-dollar impulse buy, easily upsold customers. They want something small that they can take with them that's easy to purchase and convenient to have. Maybe it's a novelty. When we get into our categories later, we can discuss how to cater these to fans, but you want to have a cheap sub $20 option that can be something parents buy for kids or something that someone who's casually interested would take as a piece of memorabilia to commemorate the occasion or the event. Collectors are high-dollar super fans that will purchase anything you produce, especially if it's limited, to have all of it. The AEW shop is entirely catered to collectors. And in fact, I would wager they have completely tapped their collector market because they're still selling of 10 limited runs for prints, for canvas, for kind of anything you want to look at in there. They're all very expensive items and they're all limited edition and none of them have sold out, which leads me to believe that market base for high dollar, high purchasable collectibles and limited runs is just gone. I don't think AEW has access to them anymore. I think they've burned through whatever goodwill they sell. The other side of this coin is I also don't think they're going hard enough. I think if you really want to squeeze those marks, you got to give them something to squeeze. You're selling them mid-tier bullshit. So the mid-tier shit look, this is Will Ospreay's merch. Here it is. This is Will Ospreay right now. Here it is. Oh, it's cross-branded with Assassin's Creed. These shirts are too expensive for fans to buy, and they're not expensive enough to be an interesting collectible. There's nothing unique about these that as a collector, I would want. But as a fan, this shit is way too pricey. It's fucking retarded. And I, being a professor, know that this has nothing to do with their profit model and everything to do with their supply chain. So let's cover 4 categories of merch to explain how they fucked the supply chain and are fucking their profit margin, which is causing them not to be able to cater to anybody.
Christmas, 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 I love you. Christmas.
AEW has a really good fan-centered card item with this Upper Deck collectible card. The problem is, as a fan, I don't want booster packs of random nobodies. I want Willow, she's my favorite. I want Thunder Rosa, she's my favorite. I want the Mariah May card, she's my favorite. I'm not gonna buy fucking 80 booster packs to get Mariah May. And I'm not, because it's not 1938 anymore, going to take my collection of cards to school to trade them with other kids. It's not 1930. I'm sorry, they did that in the 30s, I get that, and we were all young or something. Then I didn't exist. Maybe I did, whatever. But nowadays, the dweebs that take cards to school are playing a competitive game like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon or Magic the Gathering. And you might say, wrestling can't be a competitive card game for dorks. The WWE did that. You just assumed it didn't exist because why would it? And it does. It was called Raw Deal. Here it is. Go buy it. It's a game. You can play it. I don't recommend it because it's out of print, but do that. You think I'm fucking with you? There are Disney deck builder games that you can buy at Target. If you want to make cards, make those. Make a game or a deck builder or something. Now, that's what AEW should do because they have deep pockets, wide ties, and stupid money, right? They can get into Target. They should do that because it caters to their idiot, smart collector fan market. But it's still, none of that appeals to the fans who just want a cheap thing. And this is second-hand singles. I don't know why I can't buy just the one I like. But that should be the one I should be able to buy. I should be able to go to a live event and say, ooh, Commander's going to be here. Can I get the Commander trading card, please? And they'll say, yes, $5. Then they'll upsell me. They'll go, well, he is here tonight. If you're willing to wait till after the show, we could have him sign it, and then it's $25. And there, we just turned a scribble of ink and a second of Commander's time into 20 fucking bucks. You might say, well, we don't want 1,000 people doing this. Really? You don't? You don't want an extra $20,000 at the gate? I would. Yeah. Give me 20 grand. I want the money. It's about the money. So you're small, you're local. How do you print cards? There's actually a number of services for custom trading cards or custom card games. I would work with board game distributors. I would work with local print shops. I would find anyone that does the custom trading cards like for police or firefighters. Get small runs. Usually you can get a run for sub $1,000. And if you have a non-exclusive license rights to your talent, the back of it could say, we'll use them as an example. It could say MLW on the back. And then on the front, it could say like the guy. Here's an example guy from their roster. The reason we're doing non-exclusive rights is because you could take a run of those cards. You could buy 6,000 of them or whatever, 600, then sell them locally at shows signed, and then give him some to go sell himself. And he has a little box of $20 cards. Maybe he's got 100 of them, and he come back and say, hey, I signed all of them. I sold them all for 20 bucks each or whatever the price point was. Get me some more. And then he's buying them from you at cost plus 10 points. And now you're a vendor for his merch. He can go put it on his fan site, his hoodlum, his whatever, and go make that money.
Christmas, 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 I love you. Christmas.
AEW's poster model is retarded. I'm sorry. Again, look at this Will Ospreay. This print is way too much. I can get a poster at Walmart for $10. So can someone explain to me how they're charging this much for a poster? Like how? I don't get it. Well, what they're probably doing is using a print-to-order poster service and paying $20 per poster, which, and I can't stress this enough, is a bad deal if you're AEW. Because, and this is important, you could just buy your own print equipment. Like a poster printer's a couple grand. Here, this is how much it costs for a poster printer. It's a large format printer. They're a few $1,000s. This is a lot for most people. It's fucking nothing if you're a multi-billionaire, and it would allow you to bring your cost down to like $9.95. And now you have competitive print pricing. Also, because you'd control print quantities and print time, you would print and prepare in advance posters for the people being featured at the shows that you're hosting live. So people would go live and they would see, oh, wow. Who's Tony Storm? There you go. Tony Storm's here. And then they would get excited for Tony Storm, and then they would hit the merch booth, and all of a sudden there's a Tony Storm poster. That fucking works out. And it'd be $12 or $15. It is affordable. Remember, it's a fan price. And then you upsell to the collector and you go, hey, for $75, we can get it signed by Tony. Or if you are able to do this, you say, for $75, you can go get this signed by Tony and should take a picture with you before the show. And that's a collector premium experience. And you might say, oh, I don't want 1,000 people. I just added 75 grand to your shit Dynamite gates. You're welcome, by the way. Fuck you. It's free money and I just gave it to you. I just gave it to you. You can do this, by the way, if you're a small business. If you're smaller, buy a run of posters at 83 cents a pop. And don't make them event-oriented, unless you're promoting the event, so those are promotionals. Make them more like brand-oriented. Like, here's this Marvel picture that is like perennial. This is the Marvel Heroes photo. This was a poster for like 4 years. Build something like that with your roster and sell them at all the live events of like, hey, here's our fucking class of 2024 or the Mean Streets crew or whatever you want to call your roster. You know, these are the future champion, however you want to do it. Sell them individually and then charge a premium at the shows to have them be signed commemorative items because you already have the talent at the show. So use them to make money for your business. Ta-da! That's Prince. But let's say you're AEW and you want to sell high dollar items to your fat, sweaty, filthy marks. Here's how you do that, my friend. You partner with Displate and you get a $160 premium textured art print of a collaborative art piece that you're already selling in a premium item, and you charge $250, and it comes with a signed trading card and certificate of authenticity, because you can just print those, and now your fuckhead collectors have their favorite thing from their favorite guy, and they paid a favorite amount for it, so the collector gets exactly what they want. The fan gets a high-end item that they might occasionally buy if they're a really big fan of Jon Moxley or Thunder Rosa or whoever, Jack Perry for some reason. You could sell also this for everything because it's print to order and you have artwork, so just upload one for everybody and then sell a display of it at a high-end premium price point with signed card upcharge option. Like, am I fucking stupid or crazy? Because it seems like these are really simple things to do, and AEW doesn't do them, leading me to believe they are not a serious business. AEW is not a serious business. That's a thumbnail. If you're a national brand partner, you know what's interesting? AEW is hiring somebody to build national brand partnerships, and Displate is a company known for frequently buying ad space for YouTubers. It would be beneficial to have a national co-brand where Displate sponsors some shows, and in exchange, you produce AEW-specific displays. The displays that you produce would be featured talent who are about to get or in the middle of getting a lot of featured time in stories to drive merchandise sales. You'd think that would be the move. I mean, it's not. They don't want to do that, but you'd think it would be, right? You'd go, oh, that would make a lot of sense. You should do that. They don't want to do that. They don't want to hire a guy to do that. They've got no interest in that. They just want to burn Tony Khan's money. And by they, I mean the Bucks. This is these guys. These are the guys that want to spend all of Tony Khan's money. It was them. You think it was somebody else? No. Here's what happened in AEW. Beep, boop, boo, doo, beep, boop, boop, boo, doo, beep, boop, boo, doo, beep. Cody Rhodes knew the Elite. They partnered up to him because he was like a big kahuna and he wasn't a fucking weeb. He was serious about professional wrestling. He wanted to do All In, and he dragged his Japanese weeb friends along for the ride. They did a great show with a lot of great talent, and it sparked the interest of Tony Khan, who had, as a billionaire, been interested in producing wrestling, but didn't have the go-ahead from Papa to spend the kind of money that it would take to get something up and going like that, because he believed what everyone believed. It's kind of a business that doesn't make a lot of money. All In makes a lot of money, goes, oh, well, there's room for a competitor here. Everybody gets spun up, boom, AEW happens. While they're doing that, they managed to convince fucking CM Punk to come out of retirement. This is important because it wasn't Tony that convinced CM Punk. It was all of Punk's friends. It was Cody, it was Joe, it was all the ROH guys, right? It was like, dude, we're doing something here. We're really going to bring it out. And Cody and Punk were interested in making a successful, profitable company. But these fuckers wanted to do the Meltzer driver and get 5 stars. What a wonderful thing. So their obsession with this and their uncompromising vision towards doing dumb bullshit matches pushed out the people who were serious about this being a real business. And Cody had made some personal promises he didn't really want to renege on. He didn't want to go be a world champion. He wanted to build the best world champion in the world, and he was surrounded very quickly by people that didn't want to do that to his vision. So he fucking left. CM Punk wanted it to be a successful company, and it became irreversibly apparent to him that nobody at a level of management in that business wants to run it like a successful business. He tore them all a new one and then left. Ta-da! That's why AEW's in the spot that it's in, because nobody who's running it cares about it. Nobody cares that it matters, which is a problem. Not if you're fucking the Bucks, they're already millionaires. It's a problem if you're Will Washington. That guy's fucked as soon as the money falls out of this. Tony Schiavone's better about polishing up his resume because he's going right back to Starbucks. Not that he's bad, not that we don't like him, not that he shouldn't be working in wrestling, but that the commentary game's kind of packed. That's why he was there before. It wasn't that people don't like him. It just wasn't space for a Tony Schiavone after WCW closed. And when AEW does inevitably close because the Bucks are running it into the ground, there won't be a space for Tony Schiavone again. And that sucks. And I also think that sucks. I agree with you that is shitty, but welcome to the reality of Mark-centered wrestling. That's a brief history of AEW. Now you're up to speed.
Christmas, 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 I love you. Christmas.
Apparel's kind of pricey because you have a lot of different sizes and a bunch of different people, and you're catering to a lot of things. Print to order's kind of the only way you can go, but there is a good, better, best model here. Good, better, best is a pricing scheme used by just about every retailer in the world, and it should be used by your wrestling company also. You should have a good piece of apparel, which is something nice and cheap and affordable for fans. This is usually like generic stuff. Maybe a faction shirt, maybe a brand shirt, like an MLW hat, whatever. Something kind of like normal and not specific. Then you have the better. This is specific. This is your Will Ospreay shirt. You can charge more because of their print to order. They have usually a nicer graphic, but mostly what you're trying to do is go, okay, you really want a fancier thing. Let's get specific because we have to charge more because it's a lighter run. Then your best is going to be bespoke. On the Darby Allin example here, best is that furry pink jacket thing. You are making a handful of those for a handful of people. They're going to pay a premium price for it. So you want to have a good, better, best apparel model. AEW isn't doing a great job of this. They have a lot of better. They have some best, but they don't really have a lot of good stuff. If I want a cheap sub $20 shirt, like here's the WWE sub $20 shirts for myself and my kid. AEW either doesn't offer it, or if they do offer it, I don't know how to find it. Their storefront's confusing on that. So if you're a small company, what you would do well to do is partner with local screen printers and embroiderers, along with whoever's doing your graphics locally, and build a pipeline to supply the shirts for your guys. Sell them at near cost to your guys, and then let them go pack on margin for signing shirts everywhere that they go, to sell shirts wherever they're taking dates. And so they have an easy way to get more shirts in the future. Because if you don't do that, they're going to go do it through Pro Wrestling Tees. And Pro Wrestling Tees isn't also trying to run a wrestling promotion. They're trying to parasitically leech off the fan base that you built. And they can go fuck themselves if they think they're going to shoehorn in on fucking DPW's money by buying and selling merch against DPW of talent that we're putting over. You can go fucking eat my ass if that's your plan, Pro Wrestling Tees. You see, let it not be said that Professor Wrestling doesn't understand the business. I'm a business-minded guy.
Christmas, 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 I love you. Christmas.
This is an interesting part because action figures are weird and both too cheap and too expensive. In the fan space, let's put it, all right, AEW figures look kind of like this, right? Mid-20s, $30-ish dollars. In the fan space, this is too expensive. If I'm a little kid and I'm trying to play with my action figures, like I did when I was 10 and you probably did when you were 5 or 7 or 10, right? I hate this action figure. It's too big. I don't know why I need extra hands and faces. It's not compatible with my other action figures. Because when I'm running my imaginary wrestling league that I'm booking in my bedroom because I'm a 7-year-old, because I was 7 years old, if I have a wrestling action figure, it should be the same size as all my other ones, so I could play with them together like this. And when you're selling these like weird tall ones, I can't do it. And I'm also like on a budget, like on an allowance, so I can't get a lot of them. So when they're like $28, my dad's like, why is this so much? No, right? So, you know, it would behoove you to sell a cheaper product more closely related to the kid market. And you know who's doing that right now? It's a crazy company. You probably never heard of them. The WWE is doing that. Look, here's their cheap action figures for kids. This is the kid-oriented action figure. $13. That's affordable. This is Rey Mysterio, high merch mover, the shoulders, hips, and I could play with my Flash toy. Here's the Flash. $9 for a Flash toy. This is what I'm buying if I'm 10. And if I want Flash to wrestle Rey Mysterio for the World Heavyweight Championship, I sure could use a title belt that'll fit around the Flash's waist because he's like a 4-inch figure. Boy, is there like a 2-pack that comes with one? Oh, it's that. And while it's $30, it is 2 of them. That's a deal. Look, we're catering to fans and they're going to buy our merch. But it's also a shit collectible. See, here's the thing. Real action figure collectibles are way better than this just dreck of $20 to $30 fucking posables. It's just crap. You want to know how I know? Here's a real collectible. Look at this bad boy. That's an $800 Wolverine sculpture. That is a fucking collectible. Do this with pro wrestling and make them look really fucking cool. Then they can be $200 and interesting. And for the adult collector, I have something I can put on my shelf and display area that looks nice. That's in between the price of a $700 replica belt and a $30 action figure. Like, sell me a $200 sculpt. That's really pretty. You know who figured this out, by the way? Anime figured this out years ago, and they make way more money than wrestling does selling these things because wrestling refuses to cater to nerds on that end. Now, when you're selling $30 bad toys, they're shit toys. So, you're thinking action figures are a big boys game. I don't have WWE money. I don't have AEW money. I can't call Jack's Pacific and have them build me a toy because I couldn't. They would ask $1 million for tooling. Boy, you're right. Hey, you know those knockoff Chinese wrestling action figures you can get on Amazon? These guys? You know they're made in a factory? You know the factory that makes them has a phone number? You know you could call that number and say the following? Hi, my name's John St. John, and I work with Major League Wrestling. I would like to offer a co-brand to license our logos and trademarks and wrestlers to you in exchange for you producing wrestlers under the MLW marketplace. We'd like to keep the price points close to the same, and we would buy them at cost, and you could still sell them independently in exchange for a royalty. Please let me know how we can move this forward. Thank you. That's what you do. Because they would probably love to make co-branded merchandise that they could actually sell to a real audience. And you'd probably love to have cheap as fuck action figures that you could sell to your smaller fan base. And I bet your fans would love a really affordable action figure that they could buy. You see? Professor Wrestling is here to help you, baby. I want you to grow too.
Christmas, 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 I love you. Christmas.